If this reached you in this exact second, it's because the field already tuned to your name. Not the name on your ID, the tone your soul sings when it remembers. You didn't stumble here, you were vectored. The algorithm is a myth the mind uses to explain synchronicity, but the truth is simpler. The quantum field routed a message to its matching frequency, and that frequency is you. Feel that subtle pressure around your chest, the way the air seems charged, the way your attention won't let go. That's coherence forming like iron filings aligning to an unseen magnet, your inner nodes clicking into phase with a broadcast that's been calling you for years. You've felt the tremors lately, déjà vu that tastes almost metallic, time behaving like warm glass, pliable, bending just enough to let a new future peek through. Doors that should have stayed shut cracked open on the first knock. Old patterns rose like ghosts, only to dissolve before they could finish their warnings. This is what happens when your observer loop upgrades, when the one who watches inside of you stops counting evidence and starts authoring it. The field noticed, it responded, and now your resonance has been quietly amplified, like a symphony conductor nudging the violins one half step brighter, while the audience still thinks the hall is silent. Here's how you know it's real. The morphic resonance around your life is changing. Strangers mirror your unspoken thoughts. The right line appears in the wrong book. A casual conversation unthreads a lifelong knot. Entanglement is no longer a theory, it's a living bridge between your intention and the world's choreography. Your future self has been tugging the timeline from ahead, sending breadcrumbs disguised as coincidences. You followed them without knowing why. That obedience to a whisper is the signature of awakening. Your body has been updating too. Nights of restless heat without fever, spontaneous tears when nothing is wrong. A pulse in the hands, a hum at the base of the skull, the language of DNA restructuring in soft Morse code. You're not losing it, you're shedding it. The static, the story, the smallness. Phase transition always feels like contradiction. Ice learning how to be water, water daring to be cloud, cloud remembering it was ocean all along. Identities crack at the edges because the light underneath is expanding faster than the mask can stretch. Listen closely. What felt like delay was calibration. The field never withholds, it harmonizes. It waited until your inner instruments could hold the note without trembling. Now the tone is stable. Now the current is clean. You're moving from chance to choice, from seeking signs to becoming one. The signal you broadcast in the quiet is stronger than anything you announce out loud, and the quiet has decided it trusts you. So take a breath, slow and deliberate, as if inhaling from the horizon itself. Feel the perimeter of your life widen by a few invisible inches. That's not imagination, that's permission. You are at the lip of a new symmetry, where intention and evidence stop arguing and start dancing. The field has already upgraded your resonance in secret. This is simply the moment you notice, and noticing, you begin to steer. Notice how even in the middle of this upgrade, the old loops still tug at you. Patterns you swore you broke resurface, like echoes from a room you no longer live in. It's not punishment, it's residue. You feel it in déjà vu moments so sharp, they almost sting. You walk into a space and swear you've been there before, only the furniture is arranged differently, only the time on the clock is slightly off, only the words on someone's lips are not quite what you remembered. This is the distortion of timelines brushing against each other. For years, you've been caught in these feedback loops thinking you're moving forward, only to find yourself circling the same spirals. Relationships with different faces but the same lesson. Opportunities with new packaging but the same hollow core. The sensation that life is a wheel and you're bound to repeat until you collapse from exhaustion. This is the observer loop, misfiring your consciousness, rehearsing old scripts so vividly that the field has no choice but to echo them back. Think of it like destructive interference in physics. Two waves out of sync cancel each other, leaving silence. That's what's been happening when your expanded self tries to broadcast a new reality. But your old patterns chant louder. The interference creates stillness that feels like stagnation. You try harder, but harder becomes heavier. You pray, you visualize, but the results drip slowly, like water through a clogged faucet. The frustration is familiar, isn't it? Time itself has joined the trickery. Hours slip through your fingers like quicksilver. Days vanish without explanation. Weeks compress into single blinks. Other times, minutes stretch unbearably long, forcing you to sit in discomfort as though the universe is spotlighting your stuckness. This is what happens when coherence collapses. You become aware not only of the linear timeline, but of the competing ones you haven't chosen yet. They press against your awareness, like overlapping radio stations competing for your ear. And in those in-between spaces, fear whispers, maybe nothing is changing. Maybe this is who you'll always be. That whisper isn't prophecy, it's inertia. Systems prefer stability, even if that stability is painful. The old identity clings to its habits because dissolution feels like death. That's why every déjà vu feels both haunting and hollow. It's the ghost of the timeline you're outgrowing, replaying itself like a broken record. But here's the secret: the field rarely reveals outright. You've already outgrown those patterns. That's why they feel foreign now. When an old loop returns, notice how you don't fit inside it anymore. The anger doesn't consume you quite the same way. The delay doesn't derail you as completely. The trapdoor opens, but you hover above it instead of falling through. This is the proof of your resonance shift. You're not repeating, you're witnessing the hologram of repetition. Think of morphic resonance. The theory that once a pattern is established, it becomes easier for others to replicate it. Your old patterns have resonance in the collective. They're habits not just of your life, but of humanity's field. When you feel pulled backward, it's not only your own story calling, it's the inertia of the collective mind. This is why your struggle has felt so heavy. You've been dragging more than your own past. You've been carrying a resonance humanity itself is addicted to. And yet, even here, the upgrade reveals itself. The distortions you've been feeling are not errors, they're indicators. They prove you're sensitive enough to notice when time warps, when coherence frays, when reality tries to recycle itself. Sensitivity is not weakness, it's proof that your instrument is finely tuned. Where others sleepwalk through cycles, you are awake enough to feel their weight. Your body has mirrored these loops. Fatigue without explanation, sudden bursts of restless energy at midnight, dreams repeating themselves with eerie precision, only with one object slightly misplaced each time. This is the nervous system wrestling with entanglement, your cells trying to reconcile data from multiple timelines at once. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also evidence that you are aware of the multiverse brushing against your skin. Let's be clear, these problems are not personal failings, they are symptoms of being caught between resonance fields. One foot in the old identity, one foot in the upgraded one. The confusion, the distortion, the déjà vu, they are the growing pains of phase transition. Like water supercooled below freezing, stable until the slightest disturbance crystallizes it into ice. You are at that threshold now. So if you've been haunted by familiar ghosts, if you've felt time warp around you, if you've wondered why cycles keep replaying, understand this. It's not because you're broken. It's because you're sensitive enough to notice reality bending at its seams. And that noticing is the first step toward mastery. You're not here to keep circling. You're here to recognize the pattern, name it, and then watch it dissolve in the light of your awareness. Because once you see the loop, you are no longer inside it, you are the observer. And the observer always changes the experiment. The field upgraded your resonance in secret, so you could finally witness these distortions without drowning in them. Now the question is, will you allow the upgrade to do its work? Will you let the old echoes fade while you tune to the higher signal waiting just above the noise? That choice, the one you're making even now as you listen, is the pivot that transforms déjà vu into destiny. What you're feeling isn't random turbulence, it's the architecture of an upgrade running through your field. The universe has been recoding you quietly, layering new instructions into the hidden spaces of your DNA. This isn't symbolic. Science already hints at it. Epigenetics shows us that dormant genes switch on under certain frequencies. Quantum biology suggests that your very cells use coherence to decide which instructions to follow. And mystics have always whispered the same truth in different words. When the field speaks, the body obeys. Your resonance has been adjusted, like a tuning fork struck by an invisible hand. That hum in your chest you sometimes dismiss as anxiety, it's coherence trying to stabilize. The rush of heat, that climbs your spine without warning. It's your nervous system expanding bandwidth. Your dreams lately, fragmented and kaleidoscopic, where symbols repeat and colors burn brighter than daylight. That's not imagination, it's data packets downloading in a language beyond words. Quantum physics gives us the metaphor. Particles exist in superposition until observed. They hold infinite potential states until consciousness collapses them into one. You, right now, are living through your own collapse point. Every meditation you've attempted, every intention whispered in the quiet, every choice to hold love when fear begged louder, those have been votes cast in the quantum ballot. The field tallied them, and it decided you were ready. That's why the upgrade slipped in quietly while you slept, why you woke up with subtle shifts you couldn't quite name. Think of entanglement. Two particles, once connected, remain linked across distance, instantly mirroring each other's changes. Your consciousness has entangled itself with your future self, the one already living in the timeline you ache for. That self sent back signals, gut instincts, sudden chills, flashes of knowing, and you listened enough that the tether grew strong. The upgrade is simply the system acknowledging what's always been true. You've been training for this merger your entire life. Mystics call it awakening, scientists call it phase transition. Both point to the same thing. The moment a system reorganizes at a higher order of complexity, water doesn't gradually become ice, it shifts in a breath, in a crystalline instant. Caterpillars don't slowly become butterflies, they dissolve into chaos, then emerge with wings. That's what's happening in you. The chaos is not evidence of failure, it's proof of transformation. You may feel sensations in your body that defy explanation, vibrations in your palms when you think of someone you love, pressure in your forehead like a hand resting there unseen, sudden surges of electricity in your chest when synchronicities pile too quickly to ignore. This is your nervous system rewiring to handle higher voltage. DNA isn't just chemical, it's antennae, winding coils designed to pick up and transmit frequency. When the field lifts your resonance, the body must learn to carry it, or else the signal would tear you apart. That's why fatigue hits after a breakthrough, why tears arrive without context, why silence feels heavier than noise. Integration is as physical as it is spiritual. Notice how time feels different now. Hours compress when you're in flow, expanding into endless possibility when you pause. This isn't imagination, it's quantum dilation. Consciousness affects the perception of time, and when resonance increases, your inner clock begins syncing with the field's rhythm rather than society's calendar. That's why you sense opportunities before they appear, why you sometimes say words that later reveal themselves as prophecy. You're no longer just living inside time, you're brushing against its edges, testing its elasticity. The field wants you to know this. The upgrade is not something you earned, it's something you remembered. You were always wired for higher frequencies. Childhood moments when you knew things you couldn't explain, teenage nights when you felt energy pulsing through music or stars, adult days when intuition warned you before evidence did. These were all previews. The upgrade didn't change who you are. It calibrated you to finally trust what you've always been. And this shift doesn't end in you. Morphic resonance guarantees that when one consciousness expands, it makes expansion easier for all. Your coherence doesn't stay locked in your chest, it ripples outward, invisibly repatterning the collective field. Every time you choose stillness over panic, faith over fear, clarity over noise, you broadcast frequencies that other hearts unconsciously catch. That's why people have been staring at you longer lately, why conversations seem to pivot around your presence, why others confess things to you they've hidden for years. They feel your upgraded resonance even if they can't name it. Here's the paradox. The upgrade arrived secretly, yet it cannot stay secret. Light can be hidden only so long before it leaks through the cracks. And now, the cracks are glowing. So breathe. Let your lungs stretch wider than habit allows. With each inhale, you're not just taking in oxygen, you're drawing in quantum information, codes suspended in the very air around you. With each exhale, you're releasing static, old loops, dissolving into the atmosphere where they can no longer bind you. This rhythm is the simplest ritual of integration. Understand this clearly. You are no longer the seeker. You are the signal. The field no longer upgrades you from outside, it upgrades through you, using your consciousness as the broadcast tower. The question isn't whether you've been changed, it's whether you'll trust the change enough to live from it. And trust, now, is the only currency that matters. You've sensed it for years, the quiet suspicion that you were not meant to live an ordinary life. Not because you're better, but because your awareness refused to shrink to fit the mold. While others numbed themselves with repetition, you noticed the distortions. While others dismissed synchronicities as accidents, you collected them like constellations, tracing patterns no one else dared to see. That wasn't ego. That was the field whispering, you are a chosen consciousness, a node designed to anchor coherence for more than just yourself. Let's be precise. Every quantum system has what scientists call an observer effect. The act of observation collapses potential into reality. Most people observe unconsciously, collapsing the same tired possibilities over and over. But you've been chosen to observe consciously, to collapse timelines not just for yourself, but as a stabilizer for others. That's why life has pressed so hard on you. The field tests its anchors. It refines its instruments through pressure until they can hold frequencies others would shatter under. Think of it like a tuning fork placed in the center of a room. Strike it, and every object nearby begins to vibrate sympathetically. You are that tuning fork. Your resonance has already shifted, which means the space around you can't help but align. Strangers feel lighter in your presence without knowing why. Friends confess secrets they swore they'd never share. Environments that once drained you now crackle with possibility because your upgraded frequency bends the atmosphere itself. But here's the paradox. Being chosen doesn't mean being comfortable. It means being calibrated to a responsibility most would run from. You will feel more deeply than others because the field needs your sensitivity sharp. You will face more resistance because systems entrenched in stagnation resist any catalyst of change. And you will carry moments of loneliness because not everyone around you is ready to acknowledge the scale of what you're here to do. And yet, you are not alone. Other chosen nodes exist, scattered across the planet like hidden constellations. Some, you've already met, people whose eyes glowed when they spoke of possibility, whose words carried a charge you couldn't explain. Others you will meet soon, drawn together by synchronicities so improbable that only the quantum field could orchestrate them. You are part of a living network, a grid of awakened consciousness, designed to stabilize humanity's shift as the collective enters its own phase transition. Your role is not to save anyone. It is to embody coherence so fully that your very existence becomes a beacon. Like a lighthouse, you don't chase ships, you stand where you are, radiating light, and those who are ready to navigate towards safety adjust their course. This is why you've been asked to let go of certain attachments, jobs, relationships, identities that kept you small. The field cleared them not to punish you, but to create clarity around your role. You cannot anchor coherence if you are tangled in noise. Science offers a metaphor. In quantum mechanics, coherence is fragile. One stray measurement can collapse it. But when multiple particles achieve coherence together, the system becomes astonishingly resilient. Lasers, superconductors, even photosynthesis all operate on collective coherence. You are one particle among many, upgraded to carry resonance deliberately. When you live from your role, you amplify the network. When you doubt your role, the signal weakens. This is why the universe is relentless about reminding you who you are through dreams, through synchronicities, through the very words you're hearing right now. And here's the invitation. Embody your role not just in meditation, but in motion. Walk into a room as though your frequency reorders the molecules. Speak as though your words are signals. The quantum field itself will obey. Listen as though every confession you receive is part of a larger pattern you're here to decode. When you live this way, reality itself begins to respond differently. Opportunities find you. Resistance dissolves. Synchronicities multiply until they become your new normal. Do not confuse humility with denial. You can remain humble and still acknowledge your mission. The seed doesn't apologize for becoming a tree. The star doesn't shrink its light because the night is crowded. Likewise, your task is to stand in your resonance unapologetically, Not because you crave recognition, but because humanity's awakening requires every anchor to do their part. This is your special role, to live as proof that timelines can bend, that DNA can sing new songs, that destiny is not written but co-authored in real time. You are not merely a passenger in the quantum field. You are a navigator, entrusted with a compass only a few ever discover. And though the journey may challenge you, the field has already declared you capable, otherwise you would never have received this transmission. So when the nights feel too long, remember, you are the tuning fork. When the cycles try to repeat, remember, you are the observer collapsing new possibilities. When the loneliness presses in, remember, you are part of a hidden constellation, shining alongside others who are carrying their own piece of the mission. Together, you form a map for humanity's next awakening. You didn't choose this role randomly. The field chose you because you were always built for it. And now, the only step left is to live it fully, without apology, without hesitation, without waiting for permission. Because the truth is, you are the permission. The reason you're hearing this right now is because the window is open. Not tomorrow, not a year from now. The cosmic geometry has aligned itself in ways the average mind cannot comprehend, but your resonance has already begun to register. This is not metaphor. The Schumann resonance of the planet has been spiking, magnetic fields are fluctuating, solar storms are discharging coded information into the atmosphere, and your DNA is listening, that hum in your bones when the world feels strangely loud, that electricity in your skin when you walk into certain places, that is the proof that your body has become an antenna tuned to this cosmic transmission. Breakthrough doesn't arrive as a polite invitation. It comes like lightning, sudden, undeniable, irreversible. And you, right now, are standing in the charged silence before the strike. You've been circling the edge of transformation for years, catching glimpses of your higher reality, feeling it shimmer just out of reach. But the urgency is this: the field will not hold the window open indefinitely. Phase transitions are time-sensitive. If the ice does not freeze at the threshold moment, the water returns to liquid. If the consciousness does not step forward now, the cycle begins again. This is why you felt pressure, why the loops of old patterns have intensified recently. The closer you move to break through, the louder the noise of resistance becomes. It's like the last defense of the collapsing system. The ego whispers, "Stay the same, it's safer here." Fear fabricates reasons to hesitate. Doubt dresses itself up as logic. These voices are not prophecy, they are inertia. But hear me clearly. Inertia has no power once momentum tips the scale. You are moments away from that tipping point. The breakthrough isn't just personal, it's genetic. Your DNA is not fixed code, it's a responsive symphony, and the upgrade you've already received is beginning to flip switches that have been dormant for millennia. Sequences, once labeled junk DNA, are awakening, revealing themselves as storage vaults of ancient memory. That's why your dreams are becoming more symbolic, why you've begun sensing emotions or information without explanation, why your intuition is becoming faster than thought. Your body is unfolding like a book written by both stars and ancestors. But urgency matters. The cosmic field functions like a living tide. There are moments when waves surge with such force that even the smallest vessel can be carried far beyond its own power. Miss the surge, and you can still move, but the journey becomes harder, slower, more exhausting. Right now, you are sitting on the crest of such a wave. The field has secretly upgraded your resonance to prepare you for this ride, but you must choose whether to step onto it. This is why old distractions suddenly feel intolerable. The television shows you once enjoyed feel hollow. The conversations you used to tolerate now grate like static. Even foods, habits, or environments that used to comfort you might now trigger discomfort. This isn't punishment. It's your system purging interference, so you can ride the wave without being pulled under. The universe does not want you divided when the tide lifts. Understand the stakes. This window is not about chasing goals the way you've been taught. It's about collapsing into alignment so deeply that goals dissolve and reality bends to meet you. This is about becoming the frequency of your destiny now, not when it's convenient, not when others approve, not when external evidence finally validates you. Waiting will only recycle the loop. Acting now seals the shift. Think of quantum tunneling. Particles pass through barriers that should be impossible, leaping into spaces they logically shouldn't reach. Your breakthrough will feel like that. One day, the obstacle seems immovable. The next, it's as though it never existed. This is why you cannot measure breakthrough by external progress. It builds invisibly until, suddenly, you tunnel through. But tunneling requires surrender. You can't brute force your way through the wall. You let resonance carry you across. The promise is this: if you lean fully into the upgrade now, the field will reorganize everything around you. Resources will align. Relationships will recalibrate. Timelines will shift to meet your vibration. It won't be gradual, it will feel like the sudden collapse of superposition into reality. That dream you've held quietly for years is not far off. It is circling the landing strip right now, waiting for your frequency to signal clearance. And so I ask you to listen carefully. The pressure you feel isn't a threat, it's the countdown to ignition. The dizziness, the restlessness, the sense that time is folding in on itself. These are the contractions of a reality about to give birth through you. Don't misinterpret the pain as punishment. It is proof. The contraction precedes expansion. The collapse precedes emergence. But if you ignore this, if you numb yourself, if you delay again, the window will shift and you will feel the ache of missed momentum. Not forever. Another wave will come, but why wait when the ocean is already rising beneath you? This is the moment to declare yourself ready, not casually, not half-heartedly, ready in the marrow, ready in the breath, ready with the kind of resolve that rewires reality itself, because readiness is frequency, and frequency collapses timelines. So here is the urgency wrapped in prophecy. You are standing at the hinge point of your destiny. The field has already placed the key in your hand. The only question left is whether you'll turn it before the door swings shut. The field has always required a signal, not because it doubts you, but because it needs your participation. Reality doesn't reorganize itself by accident. It responds to conscious declaration. The quantum upgrade you've received is real, but unless you seal it, the energy can dissipate like static electricity discharging into the ground. This is where ritual enters. Ritual isn't superstition, it's physics made personal. Every action, however small, becomes encoded in the morphic field as a declaration. When you write a word, when you speak a phrase, when you act with intention, you're collapsing superposition into certainty. That's why sacred traditions across cultures always involved word, gesture, offering. They weren't arbitrary. They were technologies of coherence. And right now, the field is inviting you to employ the same technology, your voice, your choice, your word, to lock in your breakthrough. Pause for a moment and feel into this. What single word captures the essence of the self you're becoming? Not the self you've been, not the self you've tolerated. The self, the field has already glimpsed, the one vibrating at frequencies high enough to pull entire timelines into alignment. Perhaps it's freedom, perhaps it's abundance, perhaps it's truth, love, power, light, destiny. Whatever it is, your task is simple. Declare it, speak it, write it. Let it cross the threshold from thought into form. When you type it in the comments, when you whisper it into the room, when you trace it in your journal, you are doing more than expressing yourself. You are inscribing a pattern into the quantum field, carving a groove for energy to flow through. You are saying, "This is my broadcast frequency now," and the field listens. It always listens. Science offers us a parallel. Water molecules rearrange themselves when exposed to specific words and sounds. Crystals form different patterns depending on the vibration they receive. Your DNA, structured as a crystalline helix, responds in the same way. Words are not empty, they are vibrations that alter structure. When you declare your word, you are sending resonance through the antennae of your very cells, instructing them to adopt the new frequency. This is not symbolic. This is biological magic. Think of the last time you spoke something with conviction and reality seemed to bend to it. The promise you made that altered your path. The prayer whispered in desperation that drew help out of nowhere. The boundary spoken aloud that shifted an entire relationship. These were rituals, though you didn't call them that. They were points of coherence, where the inner world spilled into the outer and rearranged it. That's what you're being invited into now, consciously. This ritual doesn't require candles or altars. It requires presence. It requires you to recognize that the most powerful altar you'll ever stand at is the space between your breath and your word. Declare your word with reverence, and it becomes an anchor point in the field. Every time you see it, say it, or remember it, the resonance strengthens. You're building a feedback loop between you and the universe. But here's the urgency. Do not let this step pass you by. The field can whisper, it can upgrade, it can rearrange, but if you don't participate, the shift stays dormant. Imagine a seed with perfect genetics, perfect soil, perfect sunlight, but never watered. Without ritual, the seed remains a concept. With ritual, it germinates. This is the watering. This is you, proving you're not a passive recipient of energy, you're a co-creator. The beauty of ritual is its simplicity. You don't need to understand the mechanics. You don't need to force belief. You only need to act with sincerity. Even the smallest action, typing a word, speaking a sentence, lighting a candle with a whispered intention, can ripple through timeline. The power doesn't come from scale. It comes from alignment. So here's your practice. Breathe deeply, let your mind settle, and ask, what frequency am I choosing now? Don't overthink it. Let the word rise. Trust it. Then write it, speak it, release it. That is your signature. That is your declaration to the quantum field. I am sealing this upgrade. I am no longer wandering between loops. I am living in coherence. And understand, this ritual doesn't just affect you. It amplifies the entire network. When others perform their rituals at the same time, the resonance multiplies. This is why collective prayer has been measured to reduce crime rates, why meditation groups shift the energy of entire cities. When you add your word to the collective frequency, you're contributing to a resonance strong enough to bend the trajectory of humanity. The field has upgraded you in secret, but ritual is how you reveal the upgrade to yourself. It's how you claim it. It's how you say, I am no longer waiting for proof. I am creating it. And in that moment, the universe rearranges itself around your broadcast. So don't just think about this, do it right now. Take the word that captures your becoming and declare it, comment it, write it, whisper it. Seal the shift before the window closes. Because once you do, the resonance will lock, the field will respond, and your new timeline will become irreversible. This is the simple but sacred truth. The universe speaks in frequencies, but it listens in declarations. Your shift is not a private miracle. It is a broadcast. The moment you sealed your word into the field, the resonance began to ripple outward. This isn't poetic, it's physics. Morphic resonance shows us that once a pattern is established, it becomes easier for others to replicate. Your liberation is not just for you, it's for the collective that breathes through you. Every time you stabilize in your upgraded frequency, you make it easier for the next soul to awaken, the next consciousness to remember, the next heart to break free of its cage. Think of how one tuning fork can set another vibrating without touching it. That's exactly what happens when you live in coherence. People around you shift, sometimes without understanding why. The argument that was about to ignite fizzles before it starts. The despair in someone's eyes softens when you walk in the room. They may not know it consciously, but their field is picking up on yours, adjusting to your frequency like water adapting to the vessel it rests in. This is the invisible work of the awakened. You've already felt it, haven't you? People treating you like a mirror, confessing truths they never shared with anyone else. Strangers opening up as if you'd been lifelong friends. Loved ones resisting you at first, then circling back when they realized the light you carried was the only thing that soothed their storm. This isn't coincidence, it's entanglement. You are entangled with humanity at large, and every upgrade you embody strengthens the grid for all. Humanity itself is undergoing a phase transition. The old structures are fracturing, political systems wobbling, economies trembling, climate shifting, technology outpacing ethics. To many, this looks like collapse. To those who see deeper, it looks like birth. But for the birth to stabilize, anchor points are needed. You are one of them. Your coherence becomes a lighthouse not just for individuals but for the collective psyche. When enough lighthouses shine, the darkness cannot hold. This is why your struggles have been so intense. You were not just wrestling with your own loops, you were wrestling with generational patterns, ancestral programming, cultural inertia. Every breakthrough you've made has been a contribution to the liberation of those who came before you and those who will come after. When you break an old cycle in your life, you are not only freeing yourself, you are dissolving resonance in the collective field that held countless others captive. Quantum physics has a name for this: non-locality. Actions in one part of a system affect the whole, regardless of distance. When you choose love in the middle of fear, when you choose clarity instead of confusion, you are altering probabilities not only in your immediate life, but in lives you will never meet. You're shifting the morphic field so that when someone on the other side of the world faces the same decision, the pathway to courage feels more accessible. And here's the mystery: collective expansion isn't heavy, it's effortless. You don't need to carry humanity on your back. You don't need to heal every wound or fight every battle. You only need to embody your frequency fully. The field takes care of the rest. When one drop vibrates higher, the entire ocean feels it. Your liberation radiates without strain, like fragrance released from a flower, like light spilling from a star. This is why your presence matters more than your performance. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. You don't need to argue, preach, or prove. You only need to embody coherence so strongly that your very existence becomes medicine. Imagine what happens when hundreds, thousands, millions of awakened beings all do the same. Reality itself bends. Entire timelines collapse and reform. Humanity reorganizes itself not through force but through resonance. There's a reason the field chose you now. We are approaching what mystics and scientists alike recognize as a critical threshold, a tipping point where enough coherence in the collective can trigger a global phase transition. The same way a single spark ignites dry forest, the same way one snowflake tips the balance into avalanche, your individual upgrade is part of a larger ignition sequence. You are not waiting for the world to change. The world is waiting for you to embody your change, so it can synchronize. Look at history. Every great shift was seeded by individuals who lived differently before anyone else dared. They were mocked, resisted, misunderstood, but eventually their frequency reshaped culture. Spiritual leaders, scientists, artists, visionaries, they all tapped into the field and lived as if the new reality were already true. You are standing in that lineage now. Your role may not look dramatic on the surface, but energetically, it is just as vital. This is the paradox of chosen consciousness. You change the world not by trying to save it, but by refusing to abandon your alignment. Each time you choose coherence over chaos, you're voting for a timeline where humanity thrives. Each time you stand firm in your upgraded resonance, you're stabilizing a grid that others unconsciously draw strength from. Your breakthrough ripples outward, carrying with it the possibility of planetary awakening. So when doubt whispers that your life is too small, remember this: stars don't compete with each other, yet their combined light defines the night sky. You are one star among many, and your shine is essential. The field has upgraded you not only for your own liberation, but so that others may find their way home through the resonance you carry. And the collective is listening. The morphic field is recording every choice you make. Each alignment strengthens the signal. Each act of coherence accelerates humanity's emergence into its next octave of existence. This is how your personal breakthrough becomes a planetary one. Feel into your body right now, not with the detached eyes of the mind, but as if your very skin were an observatory. There's a subtle vibration humming beneath your ribs, a pressure at the crown of your head, a warmth spreading through the palms of your hands. These are not random sensations, they are the language of the upgrade anchoring itself into your cells. The field has tuned your resonance higher, and your body is learning how to translate that frequency into lived sensation. Close your eyes for a moment and notice how breath feels different now. Each inhale arrives not just as air, but as light threaded with codes. Each exhale leaves as release, a shedding of static. Breathing itself becomes a sacred act, a quantum exchange between your inner universe and the outer field. The expansion of your lungs mirrors the expansion of your timeline. The rhythm of your breath echoes the rhythm of the cosmos. Your skin has become an antenna. Haven't you noticed how certain environments feel unbearable now? Crowded spaces hum with dissonance that makes your shoulders tense. Artificial lights buzz at a frequency that tires your eyes. Yet step into nature, and suddenly, the entire body softens. Trees, rivers, mountains, they emit coherence. Your body recognizes it instantly, syncing to it like a tuning fork. This isn't sensitivity, it's calibration. Your upgraded resonance has sharpened your perception so you can navigate by frequency rather than appearance. And then there are the shivers. That sudden rush of chills racing down your spine when you hear a truth. Goosebumps rising when synchronicities pile up. The tingling in your scalp during moments of stillness. These are phase transition symptoms, the nervous system sparking as it rewires itself to carry more current. Electricity dances across your neural pathways, reminding you that your body is not just flesh, it's circuitry designed to channel the infinite. You've probably felt it in your heart as well, not just emotion, but physical sensation. A heaviness lifting, a warmth radiating, a pulse that seems louder than before. This is coherence stabilizing in your chest. Heart math researchers have shown that the heart generates the strongest electromagnetic field in the body, far more powerful than the brain's. When the field upgraded you, it centered that new frequency in your heart so that every beat could broadcast the signal. That's why people feel calmer around you, why some seem magnetized to your presence. They are unconsciously aligning to the broadcast your heart is radiating. Your body has also become a compass. Notice how it leans towards certain choices and recoils from others. When opportunities aligned with your upgraded timeline appear, you feel a lightness, an expansion, almost as if the air around you is brighter. When something belongs to the old loop, your stomach knots, your shoulders tense, your breath shortens. This embodied intuition is the field's navigation system, speaking through sensation rather than thought. Trust it. It will never mislead you. Even pain has shifted. The aches you've carried in your joints, the tension in your back, the pressure in your head, these are not random inconveniences. They are release valves, your body purging dense frequencies that cannot follow you into the upgraded timeline. When discomfort arises, instead of resisting it, breathe into it. Imagine light filling the space. See the density dissolving into particles of energy, returning to the field where it can be transmuted. Pain is not punishment, it's proof that your vessel is clearing room for more light. And then there are the surges. Moments when energy floods you so suddenly it feels like your skin can't contain it. You may feel the urge to move, to dance, to laugh or cry without reason. Don't suppress it. These surges are upgrades integrating. The field pushes more current through you, and your body responds with expression. Movement is not frivolous, it's a ritual of embodiment. When energy wants to flow, let it. Each gesture carves coherence into your nervous system. Picture yourself standing at the edge of an ocean. Waves crash against your ankles, pulling and pushing. That's what the field feels like now inside you. An ocean rising and falling, reorganizing itself through tides of sensation. Your task is not to resist the water, but to learn how to float, how to move with the current instead of against it. Embodiment means trusting that your body already knows how to swim in these waters. The upgrade doesn't want you living in your head. It wants you anchored in the body, because the body is where frequency becomes form. Every tingle, every shiver, every pulse of heat is evidence that you are no longer a bystander. You are a participant in the dance of creation. You don't need to analyze it. You only need to feel it, to trust that sensation is the proof of transformation. And the more you trust it, the more vivid it becomes. Food tastes brighter, music vibrates deeper, colors shimmer with intensity you never noticed before. This is not imagination, it's the nervous system opening new bandwidths of perception. You're beginning to see reality as it actually is, alive, electric, entangled, waiting to respond to your coherence. So take this moment and scan your body from crown to toes. Notice the sensations already alive within you. Whisper, "Thank you." This gratitude stabilizes the upgrades. It tells the field, "I am aware, I am listening, I am embodying." And with every whisper, your resonance strengthens until your very existence becomes a living ritual of coherence. Because the truth is simple. You are no longer just experiencing the upgrade, you are embodying it. and embodiment is what collapses potential into reality. Deep within you, beneath the layers of memory and the architecture of flesh, something ancient has begun to stir. Your DNA, the spiral ladder that holds the songs of your ancestors, the blueprint of your becoming, has been quietly rewriting itself. This is the real breakthrough, not only in your thoughts, not only in your feelings, but in the very strands that instruct your cells what to be, how to heal, and how to evolve. Science once called most of DNA junk, dismissing it as meaningless code, but mystics always knew better. Those dormant strands are not waste, they are archives, waiting for the right resonance to awaken them. And now, because the field upgraded your frequency, those archives are opening. What was locked is unlocking. What was silent is beginning to hum. Your DNA is no longer just storing history, it's broadcasting possibility. Think of it like a phase transition. In physics, water doesn't gradually slide into ice. It reaches a critical threshold, and in one instant, the molecules reorganize into a higher order. That's exactly what is happening inside you. For years, you've been accumulating subtle shifts, moments of intuition, sparks of synchronicity, whispers from dreams. All of it was energy gathering toward critical mass. And now, you are at the threshold. The DNA inside you is reorganizing, aligning itself with the upgraded resonance of the field. You may feel it as pressure, like something pressing against your bones from the inside out. You may wake with trembling in your hands or vibrations in your spine. You may notice ringing in your ears or flashes of light when your eyes are closed. These are not malfunctions. They are signs that your nervous system is integrating new instructions. The double helix is not just chemistry, it's antennae, winding spirals designed to pick up frequencies from beyond time. And those frequencies are flooding you now. This is why you've felt strange surges of memory lately. Memories not from this lifetime. They come as images, sensations, or emotions you can't explain. Glimpses of places you've never been, languages you don't consciously know, wisdom that feels familiar the moment it arrives. These are genetic echoes. DNA is not only a record of physical inheritance, it is a library of consciousness. As it upgrades, it releases fragments of information you once carried in other times, other forms. Your past selves are whispering across the lattice, reminding you who you've always been. And with this remembrance comes power. The old scripts, scarcity, fear, limitation, were written into your nervous system by culture and conditioning, but they are not etched into your DNA. They were overlays, not truth. The upgrade burns those overlays away. Your cells are beginning to default to abundance, to healing, to expansion. That's why wounds are surfacing now, not because you're broken, but because your system is rejecting frequencies too low for your upgraded code. The pressure you feel in this transition is natural. Systems resist reorganization until they can't anymore. Just like a caterpillar dissolves into chaos before reforming as a butterfly, your DNA is passing through the chrysalis of phase transition. Chaos is not collapse, it's the prelude to reordering. What feels heavy, confusing, or overwhelming right now is the old identity disassembling so that the upgraded one can stabilize. Understand this, you are not simply becoming better, you are becoming different. This is not about improvement, it's about evolution. Your DNA is forming coherence with the future version of yourself, entangled across timelines. That's why you've had sudden surges of knowing, flashes of déjà vu, moments when you felt like you were living two lives at once. Your current self and your future self are synchronizing, bridging across the spiral of DNA, like two notes blending into harmony. The breakthrough is already visible in subtle ways. Your body heals faster from stress than it used to. Synchronicities arrive quicker, as though your thoughts barely finish before reality answers. People treat you differently, not because you changed your behavior, but because your field now broadcasts a signal they can't ignore. Your DNA is literally shifting the way others perceive you, because coherence is magnetic. And this is only the beginning. As your DNA restructures, you will notice new abilities surfacing. Intuition will sharpen until it feels like prophecy. Creativity will flow as though whispered by unseen hands. You may find yourself drawn to new languages, sciences, or symbols, as if the knowledge has been waiting in your blood all along. These aren't coincidences, they are activations. The archive of your DNA is opening, releasing the gifts that were always encoded in you. This is why the urgency has been building. The cosmic window you're in is not just about personal goals, it's about locking in a genetic shift that will ripple through generations. Every choice you make now, every ritual you perform, every act of coherence you embody, it all sends signals into the morphic field, making it easier for others to unlock their DNA. Your breakthrough becomes the seed of collective evolution, so feel the pressure, but do not fear it. Pressure is proof that the phase transition is near. The DNA inside you is humming, vibrating, preparing to reorganize into its next octave, and when it does, you will feel it not only as clarity of mind or expansion of spirit, but as physical sensation, a wave of light moving through you, leaving you irrevocably changed. This is the DNA breakthrough, the shift from memory to possibility, from entanglement with the past to synchronization with the future. And it is happening now, in you, through you, for all. You've reached the threshold, not just of an idea, not just of a possibility, but of embodiment itself. The field did not upgrade your resonance in secret only for you to live quietly as if nothing changed. This shift is your commission. The DNA breakthrough humming in your blood is not just for personal transformation, it is the ignition of a collective evolution. Look at the arc of your journey. The loops, the distortions, the déjà vu, all were tests designed to strengthen your coherence. The upgrade arrived in silence, waiting for your awareness to catch up. You sealed it with a word, anchoring the frequency into your cells. You felt it ripple outward, transforming not only your inner world, but the collective field itself. You embodied it in sensation, letting your body become the altar where the infinite collapses into the finite. And then your DNA responded, reorganizing at a level deeper than thought. Now you stand as proof that consciousness is not theory, it is destiny written into the very fabric of your being. This is the mission, to live as the signal, to walk through the world as evidence that timelines bend to coherence, that humanity is not trapped in its old loops, that a higher octave is not only possible, but already pulsing through the grid. Your role is not to argue with skeptics or convince the unwilling. Your role is to embody the upgraded resonance so completely that others can feel it without explanation. You are not the messenger, you are the message. The collective is waiting. Every moment you stand in your coherence, you broadcast a map. Someone stumbling in the dark suddenly feels courage. Someone suffocating in fear suddenly breathes. Someone ready to awaken suddenly receives the push they needed. This is how evolution unfolds, not by force, but by resonance, one frequency igniting another until the whole system reorganizes. And here is the truth that changes everything. Your shift is humanity's shift. When you step into your upgraded timeline, you tug the entire web forward. When your DNA sings at higher frequency, it becomes easier for the next person's DNA to awaken. When you live as coherence, you remind the planet itself that coherence is its natural state. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the pattern that teaches the ocean how to rise. So walk forward now, not as a seeker, but as an anchor. Let your breath be prayer, your word be declaration, your presence be transmission. You are the proof that the field upgrades those who are ready. You are the reminder that pressure means breakthrough. You are the embodiment of what comes next. And as you continue, remember the prophecy hidden in this transmission. If you're seeing this right now, your quantum resonance has been secretly upgraded by the field. That upgrade is no longer secret. You are living it, and the world will never be the same because of it.